Okay, so here's the thing. Ever since I was a young dyke, a little lesbian fresh out of the oven, wearing my very first pair of Velcro sandals, the first of many to come, I had a particular vision for what my life would look like. I would have a job. I'd be working. I would not have kids. I would not have a husband. I had no idea what a lesbian was, but I knew that the lesbian lifestyle was for me. Maybe I'd have a cat. Maybe I'd have a dog. And that was it for the responsibility. I had a particular vision for what my life would look like. I'd go to school. I'd read a lot of books. My brain would swell up 2, 3, 4 times the size of a normal human being. And I'd get a really cool job. I didn't know what that job was going to be. I thought I'd be working with black holes, potentially sticking a foot or a hand into them for science. Days when I was doing that, I'd be yelling at little men, telling them to get reports on my desk. None of that ever happened. I did get a job though. I had a few jobs in my life, just a few. I'm 30 years old after all. Here's the thing about all of these plans. They're great. However, I'm currently in a brief period of unemployment. One contract just ended. I'm looking for a new job, meaning I'm in this murky ground where all I'm doing is roaming around my apartment, cooking, cleaning. I've become a house husband. I don't have a child to look after. No, I have a cat. She's 7 years old and perfectly capable of caring after herself, but I'm caring for her anyways. Partner, likewise, well into her 30s, could cook for herself, but I have nothing else to do, so I guess I'm house husbanding. So you might be asking, what does a childless, temporary house husband do? Well, she cooks, she cleans, she looks after the kids, cat, she applies for jobs and applies for jobs and applies for jobs and screams at her computer. Most of my time, however, has been taken up trying to figure out how to bring the cost of my existence down to about $0. That's impossible. However, I do have one very nice tool, a really good investment at my disposal. A pantry full of stuff. Now, my partner and I both really like to cook. Her more so than me, which makes this whole house husband thing rather unfortunate. But because we like to cook, we also like to go grocery shopping. And we like to buy our little cans of beans, bags of lentils, different types of noodles, oats, sauces, condiments, things that last for a very long time, that you don't have to use up right away, that last for a very long time, and that stick around as a little reminder that you can cook and one day might again cook. So that's what I've been spending my time doing. I've been going through my pantry, rummaging around, organizing, reorganizing, putting everything back exactly where I found it, and trying to make a dent in this huge pile of nonsense that we've been collecting. To use up some orzo and capers we had floating around our pantry, I made this green orzo salad. I cooked the orzo in some better than bouillon while I pan-fried some zucchini. I also blended some basil oil and lemon together to make an incredibly lazy pesto, and then I poured that in with some edamame for protein, and then I topped that with some chopped up vegan baby bell. That I didn't have to pay for because my mother sent me home with some when I visited her last month. Thank you. Because my partner doesn't believe in gender roles, even though I'm now a house husband, she made us a lovely kimchi fried rice for dinner one night. We had some leftover rice in the fridge, which she fried up with some chopped onion, kimchi, gochujang, and then she topped each dish with a fried egg and some seaweed. As she was doing that, Sashimi kindly announced that she was, in fact, hungry, and so I fed her a lovely mixture of unknown mushy meat topped with unknown freeze-dried meat. She really enjoyed it and told me that she sends her compliments to the chef, but I don't know, guys, I still remain skeptical. Part of my house husband training, I also took a stab at making my own bagels, because a house husband needs to know how to make her own bread, because approximately 1/3 of my meals is just a plain bagel. So if I'm going to be cutting costs anywhere, it's going to be here. I whipped up a rather sticky paste-like substance that a baking blog promised would turn into breakfast, chucked in some boiling water, and baked it. The yeast in my fridge was miraculously still alive, and I used an all-purpose flour because it was all I had. And they actually turned out really well, like really, really good. I made a double batch the next day and froze them, and that's going to save me like, I don't know, $12 over the next few weeks. I also made a baked gnocchi dish because it combines my two favorite things in the world: minimal dinner dishes and a fuck ton of carbs. I didn't cook much or at all this weekend. My partner and I got a gift card to Planta this past Christmas, and we decided to take ourselves out on a little date to Planta Queen, and we really went ham on the shareables and the desserts. I had this really good carrot cake that had an entire scoop of ice cream on top, but because of that we subsided off of toast and cucumber salad all of Sunday. I returned to reality and resumed house husband life on Monday. If I look exhausted here, it's because I was. But my hardworking partner still needed lunch, so I hauled myself to the kitchen to make pad see ew. I got these bags of fresh rice noodles for I think $2.50 a bag. I also used half a bag of Gailon and a whole package of tofu. As a bonus, I made a dent in the chilies that have been gathering dust inside our fridge. I quick pickled them in some vinegar and topped the pad see ew with it. So what's next for this house husband? Well, I'm still looking for a job, and in the meantime I still have to eat, so I have a few more adventures up ahead of me. As of today, I'm 3/4 through our stash of lentils. I have all the necessary ingredients to make a vegan egg, actually a couple vegan eggs. TBD on how many, somewhere between 1 and 500. I have 2 liters of soy milk. I don't know what to do with. And I have a cat that won't stop screaming. Stay tuned for more.